Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone, for joining us to the ISDB Prize Laureates lectures that will be delivered by the winners of the year 2021 ISDB Prize. We begin the ceremony by a recitation from the Holy Quran.
الرحيم الله نور السماوات والأرض مثل نوره كمشكاة فيها مصباح المصباح في زجاجة الزجاجة كأنها كوكب دري يوقد من شجرة مباركة زيتونة لا شرقية ولا غربية يكاد زيتها يضيء ولو لم تمسسه نار نور على نور يهدي الله لنوره من يشاء ويضرب الله الأمثال للناس والله بكل شيء عليم.
I now invite Dr. Sami Al-Suelem, the Director General of Islamic Development Bank Institute and Chief Economist of ISDB Group, for his opening remarks. Dr. Sami.
Thank you, Brother Salman. I'm already starting to lose my voice, so I hope you can hear me well. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalam ala Rasulullah, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man walah. As many of you are aware, the ISDB prize is an outstanding prize that has been over more than 3 decades awarded to distinguished individuals and institutions for their lifetime achievements. 3 years back, a team from the institute worked to reform the prize in order to reflect the impact of Islamic economics and finance to the development of our member countries and communities at large. I would just like to emphasize that good economics is Islamic economics, and Islamic economics is good economics. So when we say Islamic economics, we mean economics that is useful, beneficial to the communities and to our member countries. The Reform Prize has a condition, among other things, of course, that the achievements to be recognized should be made within the past 7 years. This condition emphasizes that these achievements should be recent, and it also favors young entrepreneurs and the next generation, so to speak, that will be encouraged in order to continue their achievements throughout their lives. I'm glad that our winners today, Brother Chris Blovels, I hope I pronounced your name correctly, CEO and founder of Launch Good, which won the first prize, and Brother Zain Ashraf, the founder and CEO of Seed Out, which won the second prize. As you can see, they are young entrepreneurs, and I'm very glad that the prize is now working to encourage the future generation. The video after this statement will show the development and details of the prize. So maybe I don't need to get into this. Let me congratulate our winners and welcome all of you here. Thank you for joining us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Walaikum salam. Can we show a video of ISDB prize?
Because our world needs our care, and our survival requires moral principles. Immediate action is needed for change, today more than any other day. We are introducing the ISDB Prize for Impactful Achievement in Islamic Economics. This prize is the reformulated version of the 32-year-old ISDB Prize in Islamic Economics, Banking and Finance. Since its inception in 1988, 39 individuals and institutions have been awarded this prestigious prize. The prize alternates between two categories that switch from one year to the other. Development Solutions Achievement category, rewarding successful projects that solve important development challenges in ISDB member countries. And Knowledge Contribution category, rewarding significant contributions to knowledge in areas related to Islamic economics that have the potential to solve major development challenges of ISDB member countries. Join us on this journey. Do your part to change the world, for our beloved ones, for the next generation, for us.
See isdbinstitute.org/awards for more details.
Assalamu alaikum once again. Today we have with us founders and CEO of the two crowdfunding platforms that won the 2021 ISDB Prize for Impactful Achievement in Islamic Economics. The two platforms, LaunchGood and SeedOut, won the prize in recognition of their innovative and impactful roles in funding projects that advance the principles of Islamic economics. LaunchGood, the winner of the first prize, harnesses technology to bring Islamic values of charity into the contemporary and digital space. SeedOut, the second prize winner, addresses economic problems with a focus on solving individual financial challenges through in-kind business assistance. So you can read full citations in recognition of each of these two projects by visiting the ISDB Prize website. We have today with us, as Dr. Sami mentioned, Mr. Chris Blauwelt. He is the founder and CEO of the LaunchGood. And we also have Mr. Zain Ashraf. He is the founder and CEO of SeedOut. So each gentleman will speak for about 20 minutes. Then we will open for question and answer session. And I'll be requesting first Mr. Chris to speak and then Mr. Zain to speak. Let me introduce Mr. Chris very shortly. Mr. Chris Blauwelt, he is the founder and CEO of LaunchGood, the world's first largest faith-inspired crowdfunding platform. Mr. Chris Blauwelt is a passionate Muslim American entrepreneur committed to reviving the goodness of humanity. Chris reverted to Islam at the age of 16. He says he was inspired in part by the autobiography of Malcolm X, who inspired him in the desire to leave a lasting legacy for change. So Mr. Chris graduated at the top of his class from engineering school at the University of Michigan. He also received a master's degree in educational leadership before founding the LaunchGood. He also has a varied background that includes engineering at Intel, teaching at an elite boarding school, founding an Arabic nonprofit, and producing an award-winning Sundance film. I don't know what it is. So he is here as a founder and CEO of LaunchGood. a faith-inspired crowdfunding platform that has raised over $15 million across 77 countries for thousands of campaigns from Muslims around the world. So, Mr. Chris, you have the floor for 20 minutes.
Assalamu alaikum. Is it possible to have the clicker myself and control the clicker? And I have to say, I'm shocked that this is a Muslim event and we're actually ahead of schedule. I don't think I've ever been part of that before. Very impressive, mashallah. It must be well-run organization. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. As-salatu was-salamu ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about LaunchGood. If you don't know, LaunchGood is the world's largest crowdfunding platform for the global Muslim community, aka the Muslim GoFundMe. But I didn't do it by myself, so I do want to give a shout out and credit to my amazing co-founders, Amani Kalawi, who's our Chief Operating Officer, and Omar Hamid, our Chief Design Officer, and of course the whole team behind LaunchGood. And we're going to talk about that in depth in a minute, inshallah. First, I'm going to introduce myself, and then LaunchGood, the Islamic economy, and the opportunity for ISDB with the Islamic economy. I have here, as the brother Sayyid Salman mentioned, I became Muslim about 20 years ago, 21 years ago. Here's a photo of myself. I was, I think, 17 at this time with my best friend. So I just want to share. Well, can you tell? Which one do you think?
I'll say on the right.
Yeah, I'm on the right here in the red kufi. So a little bit about myself. I was actually, to the surprise of many people, born in Malaysia. So my mother and father, they're white Americans, but my father had worked for American Express, and they offered him a promotion that required him to move to Malaysia. So we moved to Malaysia. I was born the next year. Eventually, we moved a few more places, South Korea, New Jersey, and ended up in Massachusetts. And we moved next door to this guy. His name is Michael Dan. We moved next door to his family. And subhanAllah, we used to actually be kind of enemies. Different groups of friends. I was the new kid in school. He would pick on me. But then at 15, he completely changed. And the reason he changed is he became Muslim. And that's its own story. You can invite him and have him tell it sometime if you want. I was so intrigued by his becoming Muslim. I started studying Islam, and one thing led to another. I became Muslim, and we became best friends. 3 months after I became Muslim, 9/11 happened. And as a new Muslim, this was completely shocking, completely confusing. It's like, what did I join, And what it did do, though, is it spurred me to really understand Islam better. And I was blessed. So I think the clicker, maybe not. Oh, there it goes. I was blessed with the opportunity over the next, few years to travel the world, then travel the Muslim world. So, I went to Turkey, I went to Morocco and Jordan and got to study Arabic. The clicker, there it goes. Maybe it's just slow. Wow, now it's really fast, mashallah. We could have someone else click maybe manually. I'm not touching it. It's moving on its own. It's gonna do. Well, I can tell this story until we get there. So, alhamdulillah, I was blessed to study Arabic in Morocco and Jordan, to work in Turkey, to visit Malaysia, to eventually make my way here to Saudi, make the Umrah, and then make the Hajj. And what I noticed from all this experience, a couple of things I took away. One, Muslims are actually really cool. I don't think we give ourselves enough credit. Let's come on, round of applause for Muslims. MashaAllah. Muslims are so cool. Whether you go to like Sudan or East Java, you're going to be treated like an honored guest, even if you've never met the people before. Isn't that true? Right? You're going to give me some tea. You're going to if we go out to eat, you're going to fight me. You never let me pay the bill, for example, right? I know this. So, yeah, mashallah, Muslims are incredible. And I felt like the story, the narrative of who Muslims are needs to change. And how do we change the narrative? Well, I had one idea, is like maybe we have to go into film. And that's what I did with a friend of mine. And we went and created a production company called Beyond Blue Production. And he made a movie called Bilal's Stand. So it's about a young Black Muslim in Detroit. And it's not a Muslim film, but it's a story about a Muslim that makes Muslims look good, you know? And alhamdulillah, it did very well. We won a lot of awards, but we didn't have any money. So this is the thing, like if you make a film, you gotta, especially if you win awards, you gotta monetize it. Now you gotta make posters, DVDs, you know, get out there and promote it, try to get in theaters. So to finish off the film and raise that money, we turned to a crowdfunding website called Kickstarter. And we ended up raising, mashallah, like $20,000 so we could produce the DVDs and everything. And we were the first Muslims to use Kickstarter. If you're not familiar with Kickstarter, it's one of the largest crowdfunding platforms in the world. It's really changed innovation in America. And I thought this is exactly what Muslims need. And so it makes it look easy, but actually there's like 3 years between doing our Kickstarter and alhamdulillah, finally launching the website of Launch Good. But the idea was we have something like a Muslim Kickstarter, a website where Muslims could raise money. And it's not because of the money. It's because of the stories that people have to tell to raise the money. And these stories provide inspiration. And I feel like that's what we as Muslims need more than anything else, to change that narrative of who Muslims are. So I want to give you an example of what I mean. This is here in your own backyard, one of my very favorite ever campaigns we've had on Launch Good called Qirtas Elephant Clock.
أنا سجا مؤسسة قرطاس. بدأت الفكرة لما تعرفت على ساعة الفيل بالجامعة. كنت بمحاضرة عادية وسمعت عن ساعة الفيل. كانت هندستها عجيبة، وفكرة المخترع الجزري إنه بده يجمع الحضارات المختلفة بساعة واحدة، من الهند ومن الصين ومن مصر، كلهم بدهم يحطهم وبده يثبت للناس إنه الوحدة هي أهم إشي. هندستها وجمالياتها وإبداعه وإتقانه كان ملهم جداً. فالفكرة كانت إنه ساعة مثل هيك لازم كل الناس تعرف عنها، وللأسف إحنا ما بنتعلم كفاية عن تاريخنا وعن العلوم اللي عنا. فمن هنا بدأت فكرة قرطاس، إنه نحاول نعرف الناس أكثر عن الاختراعات اللي عنا، يتفاعلوا مع قطع معينة إحنا بنصمم لهم إياها ويكتشفوا أسرار هاي الاختراعات. ففكرة قرطاس إنها تحيي مكانة الحضارة والتاريخ اللي عنا، إنه نعرف الناس على أسرار هاي الاختراعات بطريقة تفاعلية، فيتعلموا بنفس الوقت يتسلوا، وبالآخر بصير عندهم مجسم كرمز بيضل قدامهم بتذكيرهم بأثر هاي الحضارة وكيف إنها كانت أساس للعلم اللي إحنا عايشينه والتطور اللي وصلنا اليوم. فهي الفكرة إنهم يبنوا رمز بس بنفس الوقت نلهمهم إنهم هم يخترعوا. فلما يجوا يركبوها وبعدين يتفاعلوا معها يصيروا يفكروا إنه لا حنعملها بطريقة ثانية ويزبط معهم، بتكون ردة فعل خرافية. فالاختراع حيجي عندك مبسط، قدامك قطع أنت تركبها، وبنفس الوقت حيجي معها كتاب، حتكون قصة حتاخدك برحلة من الجزري، ليش بدأ الاختراع هذا، إيش أثره العلمي، إيش أثره التاريخي كمان، وبنفس الوقت حيكون عندك زي كتالوج إنك تركب قطعة قطعة. فهي بالآخر يعني المنتجات تبعتنا بتجمع المبادئ الهندسية اللي انبنت عليها علوم كبيرة اليوم مع الجماليات والتراث اللي كانوا العلماء يبنوا فيه، وبنفس الوقت إنها تعزز بالطفل أو بالإنسان اللي قدامها انتمائه لهاي الحضارة.
So mashallah, this is an amazing Saudi entrepreneur. Her name is Saja, and she wanted to raise like $10,000 to produce this toy. I don't know if you guys heard, or maybe you know, who's the elephant clock by? Anyone know? Imam Jazari. It's a very famous old thing, but she's like, oh, this is from our tradition. She discovered it when she was doing her graduate school in Germany. So she didn't even learn this from the Muslim, although it's from Muslim heritage. She's like, I never knew about this. So she decided to make it into a toy that our children can enjoy. Mashallah, or she's trying to raise 15,000. Mashallah, she raised over $20,000 from hundreds of supporters from all over the world. And this actually came to life. I have one of them in my house, mashallah. So this is one example of many, many. And the growth of Launch Good, I just wanted to highlight it a little bit. You know, our first year we did about 1 million, that became like 3 million and 5 million and 15 million and 20 million. And it started really growing, and eventually it became 60 million. Alhamdulillah, in 2021, we passed $100 million raised. I have a little video here to
Alhamdulillah, with your help, we've now raised $100 million in donations. Thank you. We couldn't have done this without you. From our humble beginnings in 2013, LaunchGood has been a place to support great ideas in the community and to challenge ourselves to think bigger. Together, we've denounced hate and responded with love. We've helped elevate culture and challenge the narrative to show the world who Muslims really are and what great things we're capable of doing. We truly believe in the power of the global ummah, connected no matter where we are, with an intention to do good and create positive change and to build an inspired future. It's been an amazing journey so far, seeing the impact, and I invite you to be part of our next milestone, 1 billion raised, inshallah.
So alhamdulillah, that was just basically a year ago, and already now we're at 350 million, alhamdulillah. So a billion, we used to think like 10 years ago, man, or 9 years ago when we started this, like, can we imagine getting to a billion one day? Now it's like, yeah, you can graph it out, it's just a formula now. And so, again, credit goes not to me, probably in spite of me, but goes to our team. Alhamdulillah, we gathered in Istanbul this summer. This is most of the team. And the team itself reflects the diversity of the ummah. We have people all over the world working for us, very much like the ISDB. But LaunchGood is about the community, actually. It's not about crowdfunding. And I want to talk about our community a little bit. So speaking about the Islamic economy, Muslims are, we all know this, about 2 billion people. And we have huge purchasing power. And it's largely untapped. And I want to talk about, although it's so diverse, right? When we say, oh, it's a community, but yeah, some people might be in Egypt and others are in Tunisia, and it's just all over the world. But look at what I like to call the heartbeat of the ummah. So in 2015, there were 3 incredible, beautiful young Muslims who were killed in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. And this is what we call a Twitter heat map. So the hashtag Chapel Hill shooting, look at where the lights are popping up. Where are people tweeting about this? Of course, it starts in North America, but it spreads across Europe, the Middle East, Asia, all the way down to Australia. But, you'll see pockets in Africa, pockets in Argentina, New Zealand, Japan. And you see this again, almost 5 years later, when there was a shooting in New Zealand, and we had a campaign on LaunchGood, mashallah, raised $2 million in just 48 hours. Look at where the donors are from. Do you notice anything? It's like the same thing, although it's different time period, different thing. One of them is tweets, one of them are donations, but you realize like we have this whole community that seems to be connected through the internet. So we gave this community a name. We call it the Gummies. Now, I don't mean like Haribo style gummy bears, but I mean global urban Muslims who are educated and English speaking. If you're watching this now and you can understand what I'm saying, you're a gummy, right? And what's interesting, if we look at gummies, the 2 largest countries in the world are China and India. In America, we have about 5 million gummies, okay? England, anyone know how many gummies are in England? About 3 million, I think, 4 million. Canada has 1 million, maybe 2 million. It's not a lot. That's about less than 10 million between those 3 countries, right? But every country, like Zain and I were just talking about, every country, you can find Muslims in them. You go to New Zealand, you can find Muslims. You go to Argentina, you can find Muslims. You go to Switzerland, you can find Muslims. Even within Muslim countries, like Malaysia, can everyone speak English in Malaysia? No. But there's a size of millions of people that can actually speak English. They're well educated. So if you start adding up all these people, all the gummies across the world, you end up with 330 million gummies. That's bigger than the United States. And that's just the gummies economy. Of course, the Muslim economy is even bigger than that. It's 2 billion people. So it's a huge market, a huge opportunity that we believe deserves to be served. And we're starting to see a few flashes of success. So there's Awakening Music that produces, like Maher Zain and these other musicians, mashallah. They're one of the most subscribed channels on YouTube, for example. Muzmatch is a halal dating or a marriage app out of the UK that's been growing like crazy lately. Wahid Invest, LaunchGood. So we're very excited about this market. We think it's massively underserved, but there's huge potential. Where's LaunchGood? What is our role within it? we are building the infrastructure for the Islamic economy. So it's not about us. It should never be about LaunchGood. LaunchGood is there to serve the community. So crowdfunding is one service. In the future, we would like to get into more like payments, marketplaces, maybe even social media. But I actually I think talk is cheap. So I actually want to show you our first ever initiative beyond crowdfunding. We called it the Global Muslim Workation. It was this summer, the first 2 weeks of August in Istanbul, and it brought together over 30 companies and 192 people, entrepreneurs serving the Islamic economy for 2 weeks to work together. So let's check short video for this, inshallah.
Do you remember the stories when pioneers in history came together to collaborate and innovate, learn from each other about commerce, technology, design, and push society forward because of it? Today, we're reviving that tradition, where conversations begin and futures are created in an inspiring space to work, learn, make new friends, and innovate for generations to come. So join us as we pick up where our history left us, revive our tradition, and build for the future.
So now, what is the role of ISDB and the Islamic economy? If I can say so, you guys know better than me, but I do want to highlight a few things. The Islamic economy is not Silicon Valley. You know, I've been at this for almost a decade, and we used to go to Dubai and we had the Global Islamic Economy Summit. Anyone ever heard of that or been to it? I think ISDB might have been a sponsor of GIES. And, you know, there's like this excitement, like, oh, maybe we're going to produce unicorns, billion-dollar companies that serve this economy. And I think that's the wrong way to think about it. We're not going to produce multi-billion-dollar IPOs. That shouldn't be the goal of the Islamic economy, but it will touch the hearts of billions of people. And the Islamic economy matters because, one, it's our duty, and two, it's our kids' future. We can't do it all alone. We all have to play a role. And inshallah, together, we're planting the seeds today whose fruits will be harvested for generations to come. So my suggestion, my recommendation for the ISDB is 3 things. Drive thought leadership. Events like these, prizes like these are doing exactly that. And it's really important. I mean, who else is doing this right now other than the ISDB? Maybe we can say the Africa Prize. Other than that, there's nothing. You know, you guys are so unique in doing this. The second is funding the future leaders. Again, you're already doing that. And we're seeing the fruits of it, alhamdulillah, with Seed Out, with LaunchGood, with many more that have come through. And the third is to facilitate connections. And maybe this is the opportunity that we can see ISDB invest more in. Not just how can we bring Zain and Chris here? How can we bring hundreds of entrepreneurs here or support thousands of Muslim entrepreneurs all across the world? So that's my 3 parts for ISDB in the Islamic economy, and I want to end with one last video.
Have you ever wondered about the past? The golden age of Islam, we call it, looking upon it with besotted eyes. Have you felt it? That remembering of a legacy. When we built great institutions of knowledge, achieved remarkable breakthroughs, not for the pursuit of this world alone, but for a purpose much grander than all of us. Have you ever wondered about the present? The sands that slip through our fingers and what we build with it. Today, here, now, our hearts are connected like never before. We are the storytellers. We're worshipers, we're seekers, lovers, creatives, and travelers in this life. Sometimes the journey is life-changing, and sometimes we change the world. Have you ever stopped and wondered about the future?
Jazakallah, may Allah bless you all and honor us to be amongst the leaders of the pious. وَالَّذِينَ يَقُولُونَ رَبَّنَا هَبْ لَنَا مِنْ أَزْوَاجِنَا وَذُرِّيَّاتِنَا قُرَّةَ أَعْيُنٍ وَجَعَلْنَا لِلْمُتَّقِينَ إِمَامًا. Ameen. Jazakallah khairan.
Thank you, Mr. Chris. Now I invite Mr. Zain Ashraf to deliver his lecture. Let me introduce him shortly. Mr. Zain Ashraf is the founder and CEO of the Seed Out. He's a social entrepreneur, business executive, and philanthropist. Mr. Zain graduated in 2011 from the University of Miami, USA, with a major in entrepreneurship. He returned to Pakistan to do something good for his country and its people. Taking note of the dearth of financial services available for poverty-stricken masses, Mr. Zain Ashraf started Seed Out, a no-cost microfinance service for the poor and vulnerable segment of the society. Seed Out is one of the first interest-free crowdfunding platforms in Pakistan to leverage technology to fulfill its development aims to provide self-enabling and inclusive entrepreneurial opportunities for the poor. Mr. Zain Ashraf is also founder and CEO of a company named Accountant with an E, Accountant. The company has developed Pakistan's first cloud ERP solution for SMEs. It is a cloud-based financial management platform. So, floor is for yours, Mr. Zain Ashraf.
Can I have the slide, please? First, you have to play the slideshow, then you share the screen. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim. Sirata allazina an'amta alayhim ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Ameen. First of all, I would like to thank ISDB, Dr. Sami for his precious time, all the team members for honoring us today and giving us a chance to speak and talk about our organization. While I was growing up as a struggling citizen of Pakistan, one day I came back home from school and I saw this lady sitting in front of my mother who was crying. I looked at her, I went to my room. After she left, I inquired with my mother that what happened to her. She told me that her husband passed away and she did not even have enough money to do the burial ceremony. With lots of questions in my mind, the day went on, months passed on, and I saw the same lady coming back to our doorstep again and again, along with so many other faces who were continuously asking for more money to do something in their life for their basic needs. And those faces would never fade away. I asked myself this question, that why there is so much disconnect between us and them. Why at one side of the life, we are spending almost $200 on just on a fine dine meal, whereby there's 40% of the population of Pakistan which is living below poverty line and they can't even make two ends. What is that something we are doing wrong? I studied a lot of microfinance institutions in Pakistan who are doing great work and they are being acknowledged. But to my utter disappointment, I saw a few things which were not really addressing the issue that they were supposed to do. Because when somebody who needed a loan to start a small business, he would go to a traditional MFI in Pakistan, and that loan would be given in cash, not in kind. So once he takes that money back to him home, whether either he is going to buy a new mobile phone for his wife, or there is going to be so many more unfortunate circumstances that that money would be spent somewhere else rather than starting a business. But that MFI would wanting that money back. So that same person would go to another interest-based organization and take another loan on hefty 38%, unfortunately. So rather than becoming an entrepreneur, that person would be stuck in a vicious cycle and double indebted in life. So I studied more that there were so many organizations who are also doing great work, but people have this trust factor. They don't know where the money is going, whether the people are actually getting help or not. Pakistan is one of those nations which gives more charity than taxes. And there I thought that we needed to build a system where we could connect the donors with the potential micro entrepreneurs in Pakistan. where the people who want to have a financial freedom in their life with sustainable livelihood could be voiced through a centralized platform around the globe. There, I dreamed of a Pakistan where nobody is living below poverty line. I dreamed of a Pakistan where every kid is sleeping well fed. I dreamed of a Pakistan where there is meritocracy. I dreamed of a Pakistan where we could teach a man how to fish, not only give man a fish and create a new fish in the ecosystem. So there we had this divine intervention. One day I was going on a roadside, it was winters, and I saw this lady. Her name is Noora Baby. She was some 75 years old. Her stall was all empty. You could see it on the left side of the picture. I asked her what happened. She told me that last time some robbers came to her fruit stall and they took all the fruits and all the cash she had, and she does not know what to do. Imagine the poor is being theft. There we thought that we have to do something. We had to take a step further. So we set up her business. We bought her fruits. We taught her how to do basic bookkeeping on a book, and we kept a check on her how she's maintaining her business, health and hygiene conditions, and visiting her time to time to see if she's excelling in life. Then, ladies and gentlemen, Seed Out came into being. Today, Alhamdulillah, Seed Out is a not-for-profit crowdfunding platform which is working to alleviate poverty in Pakistan by establishing micro entrepreneurs through interest-free microfinancing. It was a long journey. We established in 2011. People ask me what is Seed Out, as I told you, how Seed Out works. So basically, anybody who wants to start a small business, these are the people who are already working at some place, who are probably working at some stitching centers. They know how to stitch clothes, but if you give them a little bit of love, respect, and the support or stitching units, they can become entrepreneurs. These are the people who are already driving somebody's rickshaws on rental basis, but if you buy them their own rickshaws, they'll become rickshaw owners. These are the people who are already working at some general stores, but if you make their own utility stores, fund their supplies, they can become general store owners. So we have a very simple process because our platform is on the basis of trust, transparency, and impactfulness. Because we believe that the right question to ask is what impact these entrepreneurs are creating that are being established through Seed Out. We believe that these people who are being established through Seed Out should be creating a value in the economic activity of Pakistan. They're hiring people under them. They're growing their businesses. They're creating economic activity. So the beneficiaries, just we are operating right now in 4 districts of Pakistan, but we hope to go nationwide and globally, inshallah. But these people just have to go to one of our branches and they will say, I want to become an entrepreneur. Their project is being taken care right from there, right then. The application is taken on the desk officer, then to credit officer, credit manager, social mobilizer, and credit manager. And then, it goes to 7 verification processes through AI verification also. It tells whether the person is living below poverty line, above poverty line, whether this person is capable of starting the business that he intends to start. And then his application is published on the crowdfunding platform. On the other hand, there's a donors dashboard, which is also very robust. Donors can see each and every penny and they can track where the money is going. Once they donate any entrepreneur's profile on Seed Out's profile, they get to have real-time updates, contact detail, information, address, location, geomapping, even geomapping location. So they can see whether the help has reached to the person or not. So once these entrepreneurs establish their businesses, then they return this money on interest-free, comfortable monthly installments. And those installments are put back into one revolving fund of Seed Out. And that money is 100% revolved to other potential micro entrepreneurs in Pakistan. With every entrepreneur we raise, we send 2 of the kids to school as well. We also give them health cards, and we have telehealth doctors sitting with us who can facilitate them. And with those health cards, they can achieve absolutely free and fair healthcare systems for themselves and their families. Since 2013, we have established businesses for 2,000 families, alhamdulillah. We have transformed 10,400 lives. 6,600 children have started going back to school who were out of school. And with that, we are also doing capacity building of these entrepreneurs because we meet them. Microfinancing gives you an opportunity to meet and greet the person, because when you take the recovery, you have an opportunity to have a conversation with them, see if their kids are going to see how their businesses are growing. Now, I would like to thank for the ISDB Prize for Impactful Achievement in Islamic Economics and acknowledging Seed-Out's efforts and Launch Good's efforts. With ISDB's this award, we are going to go, inshallah, on national level. We have almost established till 90% a student education portal. A student education portal is going to allow a doorstep for all the deserving students who have gotten their admissions in colleges and universities on merit basis. They will be able to use our crowdfunding platform to fund their tuition fees. But Seed-Out has made 2 different dashboards. One is for students and one is for universities and institutions. The tuition fees will be directly deposited to the universities or colleges, and universities and colleges will be directly updating the results and their progress on their dashboard. And all the donors will be informed semester to semester, year to year, that their adopted kid, how he is performing in his educational careers. People, it is very important that we need to know why we are doing what we are doing. Because as Muslims, we are supposed to give 2.5% charity out of our assets, but as true good human beings, we're also supposed to give charity of our times. I believe Momin is the one who has complete faith in 2 things: that when you give, money does not decrease, or money increases by 70 folds. And secondly, when you give, you does not give to a flood relief victim, you does not give to a mosque, you does not give to a poverty-stricken person. You're actually giving the money to Allah. That's why Hazrat Aisha radiallahu ta'ala, whenever she used to give charity, she used to put perfume on it, because she says, I'm not giving to anybody, I'm giving to my Allah. We often forget what is ours and what is not ours, because while we are growing up, we say my car, my house, my bank account, my clothes, my respect. So, even our body is not going to remain ours, it is going to be dispersed in the mud. Then how the very own extension of our own body can be ours? So this is something we need to understand, that whatever we give, it is Allah's thing. Because Allah says in Quran, وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ, you have to give from what I have provided you. Allah does not say that you have to give from what I will provide you. So Allah has already provided us with one or the another thing. Somebody is blessed with power, somebody is blessed with position, somebody is blessed with money, somebody is blessed with knowledge, somebody is blessed with something. But we all have to decide what we have to give from what we are already blessed with. We often think that what will happen if I will put my effort. So I think even one single effort can change someone's life. There was this one guy, he was standing on the side of a lake, and the water level was going down, and so many fish was dying. So he woke up every morning, and he picks up a fish and throws back in the sea. One day, one man asked him that, these are thousands of them. How many of the fish can you save? He picked another one and he threw back in the lake. And he said, the one I've thrown back, its life has been saved. So I pray to Allah that Allah makes us from the ones who help others. And I would like to congratulate Launch Good for becoming the winner also, for doing great work. And I have lots of prayers for them. Also, it would be very unfair if I do not talk about the flood that has happened in Pakistan. Almost 1/3 of Pakistan has been drowned. There is no shelter, no food, no medical care in harsh conditions. Almost 1.6 million houses has been destroyed. 6,700-kilometer roads have been damaged. 1,400 people have been killed. Almost 755,000 livestock lost. And 33.5 million kids are out of school right now because most of the people are taking shelter either in school or mosques. And 1.2 million hectare agriculture land has been destroyed, which is Pakistan is mostly reliant on agriculture land. I believe that together, if we join hands, as Chris has also explained very briefly, that ISDB and Islamic countries can join hands together and we can make this world a better place for Muslim world and Muslim Ummah, inshallah. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Zain, and thank you, Mr. Chris, before. Now is the time for questions. If audience over here have any questions, or anybody from the Zoom who are joining us on live, they have a question, they can raise a question. Please. Yes, you are my eyes from for the back, and it's good.
Thank you very much for having eyes everywhere. But I really wanted to congratulate the ISDBI and our two winners, Chris and Zen, both of you young entrepreneurs, inspired entrepreneurs, and doing a remarkable job in your respective industries, which do coincide very well in various areas. On behalf of the Operations Complex and Resilience and Climate Action Department, I was specifically asked to join in today's session. And I'm glad to know that at least with Chris, we have a subsequent session, which we will go into the youth side of activities more. But I was very inspired by some of the things that Zen was mentioning, because our responses to the flood crisis in Pakistan is under finalization and development stages. So it'd be very happy to sort of coordinate with you in terms of how we go forward. As far as Chris is concerned with Launch Good, even before the prize and everything was completed, we've actually been in touch previously as well. I think Umar is around. We've organized some sessions on Launch Good previously as well, which have been quite successful. Some successful initiatives over there. So this is great. Chris, I really appreciate the fact that you mentioned the role of ISDB, ISDBI overall in terms of how we go from here. And if you can talk a little bit, I know you mentioned about the workation activity and you showed the clippings from there. We are quite interested from the youth unit within our organization to sort of develop the capacities and their entrepreneurial spirit acumen, not only about the incubation and the financing side of things, but more about the human development and institutional capacity development side of things. So both in terms of the beneficiaries and on the institutions that deliver to those beneficiaries, actually. What areas and how do you see the Islamic Development Bank to be able to play a role in that? And of course, we have a longer conversation that will get into it as well. But once again, I also it would be remiss for me not to mention that ISDBI selecting inspirational stories, which is not just a recognition for their work and achievements till now, but the potential they hold in terms of the scale up and the wider items that they are able to do so as such. So just wanted to convey these couple of points. Thank you.
Sorry, before we get to the responses, there's a video that needs to be shown from
Just
CDOT.
one video.
मेरा नाम रज़िया सुल्ताना है। मेरा एक ड्राइविंग स्कूल है जो मैं 25 साल से चला रही हूँ। मुझे एक छोटी सी बीमारी आ गई तो जिसमें मैंने गाड़ी भी ली, उसमें मेरी गाड़ी बिक गई। फिर मुझे बड़ी परेशानी थी कि मेरा अब रोज़गार नहीं है। तो मैं एक दिन ये हुआ कि मैं किसी को ड्राइविंग सिखाने उनकी गाड़ी पे जा रही थी रिक्शे में बैठ के। तो वो रिक्शे वाले से मैंने ना बातों से ना वो ड्राइविंग के मुतल्लिक बात कर रहा था। तो मैंने उनसे पूछा कि आप ये सीड आउट लिखा हुआ था उस रिक्शे के पीछे। मैंने कहा था ये क्या है सीड आउट? तो कहते हैं ये इदारा है जो लोगों को रोज़गार देता है। तो उसने मुझे बताया इनका एड्रेस सीड आउट का। तो मैं इनके ऑफिस पहुंची, मिली मुझे एक गाड़ी। तो मैंने इनको फिर बताया, इन्होंने जाके मुझे वो परचेज़ करके दी। मैंने वो उस गाड़ी से कारोबार चलाया अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह। मेरा कारोबार शुरू में ठीक चला एफएक्स पे, फिर मुझे मुश्किल आने लगी। मैं वर्कशॉप में ज़्यादा लेके जाने लगी एफएक्स को। फिर मैंने सीड आउट से रब्ता किया कि मुझे ये एफएक्स बेच के तो मुझे बहरान ले दें। तो ये मुझे अब कारोबार तंग कर रही है, मेरा कारोबार डाउन होता जा रहा है। तो फिर मैंने सेविंग भी की थी साथ साथ और घर को भी मैंने चलाया। तो उसमें भी मुझे इन्होंने फिर दोबारा मदद की। तो अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह इस वक्त मेरे पास मेहरान गाड़ी है जो मैं बच्चियों को ड्राइविंग सिखा के अपनी बेटियों को इज्जत से ज़िंदगी गुजार रही हूँ। मुझे इन लोगों से इतनी उम्मीद नहीं थी, लेकिन बहुत ज़्यादा उम्मीद से बढ़ के इन्होंने मेरे साथ दिया है। और मैं उन बहनों को ये पैगाम देना चाहती हूँ जो अपने आप को अगर मजबूत समझती हैं ना, तो इनके साथ रब्ता करें और इनके साथ चलें। इंशाल्लाह आपकी सारी मुश्किलें हल होंगी।
Yes, I think we are back to the. Thank you.
Thank you. So we are lucky to have the experts of the bank that exactly you are looking for, both of you. So catch this guy, don't let him go.
Yeah. So there was a question from. Or we collect few questions and then comment.
Let's collect a few.
Any other question if you have, then maybe online there was some. Umair was trying to ask a question.
Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you, Dr. Salman. Thank you, Dr. Sami, and our dear guests. I think it's a very good presentation. Definitely, it's a lot of good work which is going on. My question, like in terms of my background, I'm working in the investment department where we look at investments in Islamic banks. And one of the questions which often comes there, and I want to relate it here, is relating to the AML and CFT sort of issues. I'm sure, both of you gentlemen and the organizations are taking care of this aspect, but somehow if I can sort of recommend, if this is put up on your website, like in a bigger disclaimer section where you put out the AML CFT, I think it would help in further enhancing the credibility and sort of broadening the funding base, A. And B, I know that in some cases, people I know have tried to, fund these initiatives, but because of one reason or the other, we have not been able to because the credit card doesn't go through, perhaps because of these issues. So just a suggestion, and I don't know, I'm sure already systems are in place, but somehow if you can briefly explain and put it up on your website, I think that would be great. Thank you.
Your side, both of you. Because there are two questions now, this and that. So
what is AMCFT? What was that he said?
Anti-money laundering and
yeah. Okay. We love abbreviations.
Yeah, as I say, I figured it was something like that. My compliance officer is probably like, come on, don't you know what that is? That's fine. Alhamdulillah, I think things like that can be added. We have very serious anti-money laundering policies and practices, as I'm sure CDOT does as well. I don't think that's actually much of a barrier to getting people involved, to be quite honest. I think the biggest barrier we have is getting Muslims to believe in ourselves, getting Muslims to believe that we deserve these type of services and products and attention, to see ourselves as an economy within ourselves. Like I talked about the gummies economy, like, sometimes when I started Launchgood, people say, oh, that, you're so niche. Why do you have to be so niche? I'm like, okay, it's a niche of over 300 million people. No one says to like Venmo when they start in the US, oh, you're a niche payments platform because you're only serving the US audience. It's like, no, it's the United States. It's a huge economy, right? The gummies is a huge economy. And I think we have to get Muslims to see ourselves as deserving more of these services, and we will find those services provided. So for example, and this is happening, of course, is halal food. I live in America. It can be sometimes hard to get halal food. But you know what? If you get any meat from Australia, any lamb from Australia, any lamb from New Zealand, it's halal. Even if it doesn't say halal on the label, it's halal. You know why? I think you guys probably know why, right? They made it a law in Australia and New Zealand. If you export meat, it has to be slaughtered halal. All meat export is halal. Why? Because when Muslims in East Asia, in the Middle East, are getting meat from New Zealand or getting meat from Australia, they would have questions: is this halal or not? So to resolve that concern, they actually pass laws in those countries that all the meat export has to be halal. So there's no doubt, there's no question about it. I mean, these are countries that have a Muslim population of 1%, 2%, but all their meat exported is halal. So where Muslims demand it, we can really create great markets and opportunities for ourselves. I think we've shown that with halal meat, and I hope that we can show beyond just the food we eat. Sorry, I don't know if that addresses too many questions actually that was asked, but
I would like to add about my organization regarding anti-money laundering. So basically at CDOT, when somebody is donating money to an individual's profile, that money is not taken out through CDOT. That money is only disbursed in the name of that potential entrepreneur, that individual whose profile is being published. So every single penny is only disbursed on the name of the person that money is supposed to be given. So Alhamdulillah, that part is taken care. But yes, you're right. We are supposed to update that on our website, and inshallah we'll do so to make it better.
Yes, Dr. Sam.
My question to Brother Zain: how do you know that you created entrepreneurs?
Sorry?
How do you know that you actually created entrepreneurs? Of course, the video that we have seen, it shows exactly how things develop, but
Yes.
you have, I think, 1,600 something.
2000.
How do you measure
Yes.
those entrepreneurs?
Okay. So these people, how do we measure is we do impact assessment. Every month we have this social mobilizing with these entrepreneurs. And secondly, these people are the ones, either there are three kind of people who are coming to us. One, they do not have any businesses. Second ones, they either have businesses, but small businesses, they want to scale up their businesses. Third, they absolutely want to reinvent the business. So when they are giving back their recoveries, we have to go and meet these people and do their impact assessment check at every month until the 100% repayment is done. So we have this process that we get to have this check through an ongoing process, that he is actually adding a value to the economy of Pakistan through his business organization.
Is this updated on the dashboard?
Yes, that is updated on the dashboard.
Salman, a question for both Chris and Zain. once the repayments fully paid up or 100% paid up or the project is over, for how long post the project completion or post funding would you be monitoring that project to look at the impact and the sustainability thereof? And second part to that question is, are you starting to see people that have benefited from your support plowing funds back into these projects to help others as well?
So we have made our own ecosystem. I would like to tell that. So we have 2,000 businesses that are being established through Seed Out. What we are doing now is that we have made sure that all the new businesses that we are establishing through Seed Out, we are doing the buying from our own entrepreneurs that are being established through Seed Out. So if we are making new utility store or business general stores, so the buying of those utility stores are done through the existing entrepreneurs established through Seed Out. So they're also being empowered and uplifted, and they have gotten a chance to grow. Second, your question was, sorry?
The other question was around how
long does it
you
take?
follow
So
up on
yes,
that, yeah.
so handing out money is very easy, and it does not require a long, lengthy process. Since Seed Out ensures that we have to create impactful entrepreneurs, people who are creating value, and we are establishing the business ourselves. We are not giving out hard cash to these people. So it does take almost 20 to 25 days from pointing out the entrepreneur, doing his verification, and actually executing the project.
After completing the repayment.
Repayment.
Do you have after that follow up, or this relationship is?
No, it does not. It does not dies down, because we have so many entrepreneurs whose businesses are redonated even after their repayments are 100% paid back. So if they want to go to the next step, or they want to expand their businesses further, so keeping in view their past record, we expand their businesses also. So the process of growing is ongoing, along with capacity building and training.
Obviously, LaunchGood is different. It's a donation, people making donation. What's really interesting is actually people kind of don't care, to be quite honest, what happened with their donation after they gave it, because their intention was made. So we used to do these, like, invest in these videos of like, oh, you know what, where your donation went, and we like make all this effort, and like people barely watch these videos, or they barely pay attention. Like, but what they really care about is, like, there's a crisis, like the floods happen in Pakistan, they want to make a donation right away. Like every day, hundreds of thousands of dollars is being donated through LaunchGood for the flood relief in Pakistan. And people they're making their intention at that moment, and it's kind of a beautiful part of our tradition of Islam, like, inshallah, their funds are used well, and that's our responsibility, and our compliance team does do that type of work to follow up. But donors themselves care much more about what, in the moment, than they care about like seeing the sum of their donations. And in fact, some people on our platform, they even automate donations weekly, and they don't even want to know where it goes, because they want to like be raised on the Yom Al Qiyamah, and they find all this charity they did, and they didn't even know they did this charity.
And
so
Chris accountable for all of that, right?
What's that?
And they know Chris is accountable.
Yeah, may Allah forgive us. It's interesting. I could say a lot of interesting things we find, but anyway, I hope that's it. Yeah.
I think that's sorry, Salman, if I may. I think that's interesting, because we quite keen on checking what the impact is, etc., from the space we're in, and it's surprising to hear from someone like LaunchGood, where they're saying, look, the guys just pass on the money and that's it. They don't really care what happens after. They trust you sufficient to know that it's going in the right place, and they're not really pushing back on how big that impact is. But the other part, Chris, is the projects that you funded. Are you seeing those beneficiaries plowing money back into the system? So saying, look, we've benefited, we can help someone else.
Not in the way you're asking. So most of the LaunchGood projects are charity. So I know I showed like the elephant clock, right, by Saja. But that's the exception. Most of them are Pakistan flood relief, etc. I'm not expecting the beneficiaries of the Pakistan flood relief become LaunchGood donors in like the next year or two, right? Inshallah, may Allah elevate their situation. What's the value for LaunchGood, and it's different, is the propagation of ideas. So I remember in our first year of LaunchGood, and anyone who's been in entrepreneurship can appreciate this. You may be the CEO, you're also the janitor, the secretary, the chief marketing officer, everything, right? So Amani and we used to get on the phone every day, and we would call all these different Muslims, say, hey, do you need help raising money? Like, we can do a crowdfunding project. So what's that? And why would I want to do that? Why would I want to put it on the internet? And it was very hard to convince people to launch a project. But when they start to see the success, it starts to inspire more. So we had a project with a book, a young author, and she made a book. And then someone else sees that and said, oh, I could do a book. And they start doing a book. And all of a sudden you have 2 book projects, and you have 4 book projects, and you have 8 book projects, and you have 100 book projects. And so now, like, every day on LaunchGood, maybe 20, 30 campaigns are being created every day from somewhere in the world because they saw another campaign elsewhere. And that's the kind of giving back that we're seeing, and that I always envisioned for LaunchGood, that it would inspire more people to do their own thing. Because I apologize, I'm half Irish, so I tell a lot of stories, but I'm going to go back to the story. When I was studying Arabic in Jordan, I get in the cab. Of course, the first thing the cab driver asks you is, where are you from? I say, okay, I'm from America. This is like 2008 or something, 2007. So America's, unfortunately, this is the end of the Bush era. We had the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. And so this taxi driver was not happy that I was from America. And he let me know, oh, America, shaitan, okay. And then, we get to where I was going, and the adhan went off. It's Maghrib time, and there's a masjid there. So I said, hey, do you want to come in and pray with me? He said, you go pray. I'm going to have a smoke. So it's just like, it just made me think, subhanAllah, we think it's like a victim mentality. Oh, we can't do anything, so we're just going to complain. But even the prayer we do, the du'as we make, all these things, they could have a benefit. And the Prophet ﷺ said, even if it's a day of judgment, and you have the opportunity to plant a sapling, plant it. You don't know what's going to happen. Even you don't expect any benefit, but we do the good, the khair that we can do. And this is, part of my inspiration for LaunchGood. We don't know what will come of it, but we're going to do whatever khair we can do. And we trust that, if Allah puts barakah in it, it will grow into something, incredible, inshallah.
Yes.
Brother Zain, do you have statistics on how many of your borrowers come back again after repaying? So they get, growing with you. Do you have numbers on this?
So 97% of the beneficiaries is the repayment rate, and 95+% is the success rate of the businesses that we established through Seed Out.
Okay.
And Alhamdulillah, the best part is that the new branches we're launching, because it's not a very old organization. It's only been 2013 we started establishing micro entrepreneurs, but we launched the platform in 2011, and we've been trying to improve it in the last first 3 years. Now the verification process has been so stricken that 70% of the applications are being rejected. Only 30% goes through the platform who actually gets established on the website.
Of those who got the loans
those
and repaid,
repays,
how many of them come back again?
So repeat businesses are, I can't give you the number on top of my head. They are growing. There, I can say almost 150 businesses altogether have taken reloaning through Seed Out. So that's the number I can give you right now. But
we are not talking about refinancing. No,
I'm talking about the businesses who have been established and grown, and they want to take their businesses to the next level. Yes.
Yes, there is a question. Yes, please.
So, Assalamu alaikum. Thank you both very much. It's really a pleasure. Chris, I was very aware of your work, and obviously Zain, honestly, it's the first time I've heard of it, and it's amazing work, mashallah.
Thank you.
Something drew my attention in your work, which is the fact that you guys chose to provide healthcare.
Yes.
And I think this is very atypical of MFI work, and I just was wondering what took you there. A related question is, I'm assuming, do you operate as a nonprofit or is it a for-profit? I believe Launch Good is actually a for-profit. But I was thinking that maybe this was kind of the nonprofit mentality, kind of coming to work. I'd be interested to hear what was behind that.
So, yes, that's a very good question to ask. So about healthcare, what we have done is that when we started Seed Out and started establishing businesses, we saw that there were so many lags with the recovery rate. And when we figured out that what is actually happening is that so many people were investing their capital at first year into their healthcare. So every third person in Pakistan either have hepatitis A, B, or C, and that was a big issue for us. So we thought how we can make a holistic model. We can cover all the different aspects. So we did partnerships with lots of local welfare hospitals, and with those welfare hospitals, we made a Seed Out card, health card, and we said that you don't have to spend your business capital on your healthcare. You can just go and show your health card to these hospitals and get your treatment done. So their life is easy and they are able to do the repayments properly, and they can focus on their businesses rather on their healthcare expenses. Your second question was that either your organization is for profit or non-profit. Seed Out is 100% non-profit organization. We have three revenue income streams. One, we have this people can donate directly to the entrepreneurs, and that money is 100% revolved for other potential micro entrepreneurs. That's a revolving fund. Secondly, we have an operational account. Any donor can directly donate to the operational account of Seed Out. B, we're also charging 5% when they donate to an entrepreneur, and that money goes to the operational account as well, and they can increase the amount with their own choice. Secondly, the student portal that we're launching with the help of ISDB grant, that will be inshallah self-reliant portal. We will have zero involvement. We're just building a system just like Launch Good, but students can make their profiles themselves. System will just approve or disapprove those applications, and once it's approved, they will do their marketing themselves and they do their fundraising themselves also. And the money will be automatically routed to the university and it will be paid back. So it's a 100% non-profit.
By whom? By the student?
Not paid back by the student. No, Seed Out will pay the fees directly to the university. It won't be paid back. It's just a donation. Thank you.
I think we are running out of the questions, or people are. There are things, for example, within both organizations like Seed Out and Launch Good. You are facilitating entrepreneurs, but facilitating philanthropists as well. Have you given thought on that? That people who like to donate, creating opportunities for them to donate in a right place. I mean, what I'm trying to say is that to identify who deserves is itself a task.
Yes. Yeah.
So what is the mechanism within the organization, or have the organization thought of creating such a mechanism that can pinpoint?
So there are many amazing things I experienced at Launch Good, especially as my position. One of them that's been rather unique is I've befriended a sultan in Southeast Asia. I won't say where, but he's a very wealthy.
How many sultans?
Just we actually have several sultans as donors, but there's one that just, mashallah, he WhatsApps me like every week. and he likes me a lot, which is, alhamdulillah, khair inshallah. And he just loves to build mosques. He just wants to build a lot of masajid in his father's name. And like he reaches out to me, he's like, Chris, somewhere I could give like $5 million to $10 million. It's like, are you kidding me? Like, I know every mosque in the world wants $10 million, So it's an amana, it's a responsibility. Alhamdulillah, we helped him connect to a masjid in Australia. But I'm also, trying to make sure that he uses his money in the right way. So I think it's a mistake to just give, like he just gave this mosque in Orlando like $8 million. So it's good, but I know Orlando, Florida. It's not like Muslims are poor in Florida, okay? Like they have money. So it's nice that you're giving $8 million, but actually you should give $4 million and tell them they have to raise $4 million, for example. So that's one of the things we're working on with some of the bigger Muslim donors or philanthropists, is to teach them, like, use your money as leverage. Even the ISDB, I think this is something that maybe you guys do or should do, is say, okay, we will give you money, but you have to provide half the capital, for example, to make sure that people are invested. And the reason you want to do that is you want things to be sustainable. If people don't invest themselves, they'll take it for granted. They won't really appreciate it, and they won't maintain these things. So I don't know if it exactly answers the question, but it's something interesting.
You have a screening process, or anyone can apply?
For creating a campaign?
Yes.
Oh, of course, yeah, big screening process.
So I think maybe that's what it's asking.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, to be on LaunchGood, you have to really go through quite a number of hurdles. And sometimes we will see a campaign on Just Giving or GoFundMe or another platform, and people say, oh, why isn't that on LaunchGood? And I know it's because that person is actually under investigation for terrorism crimes, and they applied to LaunchGood and we rejected them. But I can't say anything because I don't want to, embarrass them and, something. But I say, khair, inshallah, may Allah bless their work and their effort. But to be on LaunchGood, you have to be approved, you have to really be legitimate.
I think I would like to add something. I would like to share a story. Before starting Seed Out, one day I went to Kiva.org. It's a crowdfunding platform also who helps different initiatives in the development sector. So one day I saw a Pakistani organization, I won't name it, but it had mentioned that somebody needs tires for rickshaws, tricycle, and they had costed $500. And at that time, I saw that it was almost funded. And since I'm a Pakistani, I know that in $500 you can buy a rickshaw. So it was very important for us from very first day to build the system on verification processes, because Seed Out has a very strict 7-level verification process. So once the application comes, it goes to a desk officer, and nothing is done manually. Everything is done on system. The system takes the application online on the backend portal, the first information of the person, then it is transferred to the credit officer. Credit officer visits the person, do the geomapping location, socioeconomic evaluation, how many people are living with him, kids are going to school or not, what are the neighbors saying about him, is he living on rental or he has his own house, what is his house conditions. He takes the pictures, everything is being uploaded on the platform, then the application, and then he rates the application out of 10 on the AI system meter that we have installed on the backend portal, that out of 1 to 10, where does this profile lies for the whether under the poverty ratio or above the poverty ratio. So at 7 different level, credit officer, credit manager, social mobilizer, then content writer writes the story. At 7 level, the application is being rated. At the 7th level, it gives a cumulative credit ratio number, and that number system decides whether the person comes below poverty line, above poverty line. Secondly, you said that we should have the system in place for the organizations also, and I believe that if we go further, inshallah ta'ala, that we plan to go, so that we are going to open up our platform for other INGOs also, other in development sector organizations which are working for the betterment of the community. Inshallah, we will keep our verification process the same, but obviously it will have a bigger impact because we won't be focusing on the individual. Instead, we'll be focusing on the MFIs or the INGOs, inshallah.
Please.
Thank you both very much. Just a follow-up comment to Chris. Next time a Sultan calls you and says he has $5 million, give us a call and let us know.
Yeah.
We can arrange a Waqf project which might be of interest. So thank you.
Is ISDB going to match the funds? You will, huh? Inshallah.
I mean, we can learn from your, just share your experience in the crowdfunding. Most of the crowdfunding requests come from individuals who are posting their needs, and you are just matching. So what works in crowdfunding and what doesn't work? Is the organization itself trying to find the niches where something is needed? Maybe nobody is coming forward for this need. I mean, it is easy to gather funds for floods or for emergencies, but for things which are needed for development projects, etc., people usually do not care about that. So what is your experience in these matters, and how do you tackle those kind of things?
People for crowdfunding, they give with their heart, not with their head. This can be good or bad, but like, for example, right now for Pakistan flood relief, anyone could raise a lot of money. Now what's causing the floods? Maybe part of it is climate change. You could put up a crowdfunding campaign to address climate change, and like no one's going to donate. It's not emotional enough. So, you know, that's also speaks, I think, to the role of institutions. Institutions like think tanks know how important, you know, investing in some of these areas are, and they're going to think with their head, which is very valuable. Crowdfunding is about thinking with your heart. And that can also obviously be manipulated, but it can be good, and it can really spur people to action. But that's what, you know, primarily what people give to is when their hearts are activated.
I think Chris is absolutely right. People donate with their heart, and they want to connect with the cause themselves. If they have seen something, if they see it online, they would like to connect with it. And transparency really matters, because if you have a transparent platform, then you will have those recurring donors coming back to you again and again, and eventually, inshallah, it will grow. What we really need right now is efficient, cost-effective solutions, and we need micro franchising models. For example, if I talk about micro entrepreneurs in Pakistan, I wish to have micro franchising models in Pakistan. For example, a small stall, but it has to be, we need to have all sort of ROIs or feasibilities working, already being done. We should sell it as a model under $1,000 or under $2,000 to a person who wants to start a small business. So it should be a complete model given to these people who want to come out of poverty. So which can be very efficient for anybody who pursues to become, you know, self-sufficient, self-sustainable.
Is there any question on the online? Yes, let me, no question. Okay, please go ahead.
Do you sell the data, Chris?
Hamza, we do not sell our data, to be very clear. And it's a good question, because if you probably know is that Muslim Pro got caught selling their data. And, you know, this speaks to, I think, to a different question, and actually why I think we shouldn't think about the Islamic economy like Silicon Valley. So what happened, if you guys don't know, there's an app called Muslim Pro. It was started by actually a Frenchman who I don't believe was Muslim, but married to a Muslim. And he made an app for the prayer times, and it got acquired by a private equity fund. Well, why did the Chinese private equity fund, why does a Chinese private equity fund want to buy a prayer app? They're not doing it out of the goodness of their heart. They're trying to make money. And they have these ads that pop up, but they're not really making a lot of money from those ads. And so this, you know, data company comes by and say, hey, we'd love to buy your data. And they themselves look good. They don't, you know, they don't look malicious or anything. And so they sell them their data. But then that data company resells that data to the CIA and to other factions. And it's like, now, how is this data being used? Probably not in a great way. Where did that all come from? Because they didn't have, you know, they were trying to maximize their profits. And it's interesting, I know a question was asked about nonprofit versus for-profit. I think it's the wrong framing sometimes, because part of our DNA for LaunchGood is we started in this co-working space in Detroit. If anyone comes to Detroit, you have to let me know and you'll be my guest. I'll invite you over. It's called the Green Garage. And when I first started working out there, I thought it was a nonprofit because they charged me for my desk like $150 a month. And normally the rate in America is like $400 a month, for example. And they're very nice and they're very supportive and generous. So I said, oh, this must be a nonprofit. And for a year, I'd give people tours. I said, and I explain everything. And then finally, the founder said, Chris, you do a great job giving a tour, but just one thing, we're not a nonprofit, we're a for-profit. And I was like, what? I was like, but why do you charge so cheap? It's like, we're not trying to maximize our revenue. We're trying to build a sustainable revenue, but by keeping our rates below market rate, it gives us higher demand so we can be more selective of the type of companies we let in, so we can make sure the people that are part of this community are mission aligned. And they really taught me the value of thinking about sustainability, not maximizing profits. And so they don't have to like beg people for donations, et cetera, but they have a sustainable financial model that allows them to invest and grow at a moderate pace. And I think this is key, that we need sustainable financial models, but we shouldn't be greedy, because then we end up doing things like compromising our values by selling data.
So, as I told you before, that before we started Seed Out, our only goal was to create impactful entrepreneurs. And honestly, when there's some hardships with our entrepreneurs, we even waive off their recoveries for a few months, even for a year. And if somebody dies or unforeseen circumstances comes, for some accident happens, we even waive off their loan that we have, interest-free loan on them. The only purpose to take this money back is to make them self-sufficient, self-reliant, and boost their self-esteem. They know they have to earn back in order to give back. We have to create this feeling, we have to inculcate this feeling within these entrepreneurs that they're also contributing it back. The self-respect should not hurt. Talking about,
Are you selling your data?
no, we are not selling our data at all.
And you got to start off with no.
No, we are not selling our data, but it's much more than a data. Yes, but we are selling our data to our Allah. We are investing our data in the bank of Allah, and that bank is bigger than any bank, and I'm sure that interest would be more than any interest. So inshallah ta'ala, that's our goal.
Okay, still questions are coming. Okay, now.
Just one more quick comment for Zain. You mentioned this micro franchise idea, which is excellent. And it's actually very similar to the idea of economic empowerment, which the bank has kind of been working with. And I think it's just worth for you to look into this idea of economic empowerment, because it's actually the same thing that you were explaining. That's micro franchise. Inshallah ta'ala. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. I think there are many questions. And so on behalf of ISDBI and ISDB, we would like to thank the two laureates for their time and their efforts. We also thank you, the audience, for the active participation, and the audience which are listening to us online. Before closing, I would like Dr. Sami Swellam to say something and formally close the session. After the session, we will have a group photo. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much. This was a very enthusiastic and informative session. We are proud that the winners again are young entrepreneurs who will continue to make achievements in the future. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.